Yeah. The enemy's public with Bro.Nasir, the soldier, the general who has no fear. Welcome to the channel that channels the energy. We don't just discuss the problems, we give you the remedies. Peace, love, and unity, it gotta be the rank and file. One unit camaraderie. Study together, train together, put our brains together. Organize, strategize, deputize, because the system is weaponized. Taking matters in my own hand. The bills with substance, you listening to a grown man. TEP will never sell out. If this stream ain't for you, log off and get the hell out. Like, share, and subscribe, cause we one tribe.
The evil person, or evil man or woman, whose nature is to be evil, somehow cannot become a righteous person.
I don't know how I got here. I just know I'm never going back. Just when I thought things were already crazy, it gets worse.
I'm back.
Quan?
Sapphire struggles to deal with her husband's alleged betrayal and coming to terms with Quan being alive after thinking he was deceased. Devante tries to keep a level head while dealing with family issues and unexpected disloyalty. Memories of Dre enters Devante's life in a way that he would have never imagined.
Fire Part 2, the finale.
Get your copy of Fire. It's definitely a must-read. If you Get your copy of Fire. It's definitely a must-read. If you enjoy hood books, this one is it. Just like the title of the book, it's officially Fire. Get it on Amazon, paperback or Kindle.
Peace. This is the enemy's public. I am Bro.Nasir. I hope everyone is enjoying their evening. We're going to get into a subject matter asking the question, whose fear is valid, justified? Because whenever we say that we fear for our lives and use the same exact laws that's put in place for people to protect themselves, people behave like we're not supposed to protect ourselves. Salute to my brother P. Moses and to my brother Big Dog Philly OG. Thanks for joining me this evening. Salute to all that are joining this evening. Now, whose fear is valid, justified? I hear so many people discussing the Carmelo Anthony case, saying no one has the right to stab someone because they were pushed. Negating the fact that no one has the right to put their hands on people in a violent manner after threatening them, and that person's telling them, don't touch me. Or if someone says, touch me and see what happens, why would you do it? Besides the fact that you want trouble. That's the only reason I see that someone will put their hands on someone after they said, don't touch me, or touch me and see what happens. That's what I don't understand. Why would someone put their hands on someone after that? Now, that is justifying Austin Metcalf's actions and behavior and putting a limit on Carmelo's natural right to self-defense. It's a natural right. It's not a right someone can give to someone and take away from someone, because it's a natural right to defend yourself. Now, when someone tells you don't touch me, you're supposed to respect that. I even see police officers who have no legal ground to touch or detain someone, putting their hands on someone after that person said, don't touch me. And they don't even have the right to do that. If they have absolutely no legal grounds, they shouldn't be touching anyone to detain or impede their movement without legal grounds, but they do it. Now, Austin and Hunter Metcalf evidently was raised to think that they can go around putting their hands on people, being brolic. Being brolic and putting their hands on people who merely said no to them. Carmelo said no. That was the problem that Austin Metcalf had with Carmelo. Him saying no. When he asked him to move from under the tent, he said no. This is a young man who said that his hands are bisexual. That means he will hit a female also. Not only a male, he will hit a female also. Now, if he have a problem with a male telling him no, I certainly would think that he have a problem with a female telling him no, if you know what I mean. He was brought up the wrong way by his parents. They taught him evidently that he can put his hands on people. He can go around telling people what they can and cannot do, where they can and cannot be. And it served to his detriment and contributed to his demise. Now, the problem again, Austin Metcalf had with Carmelo Anthony, accompanied by the racial components, was that he said no to him. We see it all the time. Random white people approaching people, our people in particular, asking them, what are they doing? Where do you live? Even what are you doing around here? They ask us questions like that and then expect us to answer their questions. And sometimes they will follow us all the way to our home as if we have to adhere to their advances and answer their questions. I don't know what that is besides racism and self-entitlement that makes them think that they can do that. I want to say this: being the aggressor negates self-defense and standing your ground. When you are a grown man and you're chasing a 14-year-old, that negates standing your ground. If someone is fleeing you, you are not in any danger. So you're not standing your ground. You can't say that you fear for your life and you're chasing the threat. that makes no damn sense. So how a jury can find Rick Chow not guilty for what he and his adult son, Andy Chow, when they chased a 14-year-old minor over 130 yards, then shooting him in the back, they're calling that justifiable homicide. It's really racism and prioritizing an adult's life over a child who was running for his life. That's what that is. The state of South Carolina is telling us it is okay for people to chase down and murder our children. The question is, how do we feel about that? If it's not okay, what measures of actions should we take when this occurs? Especially after being deprived of justice several times. Going back to the 1980s, then you had Trayvon Martin, you had all these different examples of people harming our children. We cannot allow people to think harming our children is okay by any means. If a white man can walk up to a teen and aggress him violently at a pool, that means that he's not worried about who that young man's father is or who his family is. The case that the brother Richard Taylor showed on his platform, a white man violently aggressed the young brother at a pool. If I seen a young man at a pool and that young man was sort of mouthing off, I'm going to act my age and let that young man act his age. I'm not going to jump on nobody's child. I don't care how much he's mouthing off. If he's a child, he's just going to mouth off. That's it. I wouldn't deal with nobody's child like that because it's a child. That's why I wouldn't deal with a child like that. I would act my damn age while he's acting his. It's simple. Yet in the mind, salute to my brother, D. Allen Warren. Thank you for joining, brother. I appreciate it. Yet in the mind of some white men in particular, our women, children, and elders are easy, soft targets. Or anyone who don't give them pushback on their behavior. They're easy, soft targets. Now, Jay-Z is someone that I don't rock with because how he moved today. But one thing that he said that I agree with is that we have to get away and beyond the kneeling. I've always disagreed with the kneeling. Kneeling, to me, is like submission. I can't kneel to injustice. We have to stand up and firm to injustice, not kneeling. So I disagree with that. When the football player Colin Kaepernick was telling people to kneel, I just disagree with that because it looks too much like submission, and I can't submit to injustice. Now, I'm asking a question: whose fear is valid? It's so many cases and scenarios where there's verbal confrontations and haven't even gotten physical, and white people are pulling out guns. They're pulling out guns on people. I'm going to show examples. They want to say that they feared for their life, or they want to claim self-defense or standing their ground, and they want to be biased with the law. If they can stand their ground when they fear there's an imminent threat to them, the laws can't change when they're on the other side of that. The laws have to remain the same. And we're not going to allow them to deny us the same laws that's on the book that protect them. Because in all actuality, self-defense is not a law that somebody could, make. It's not a right that somebody can give you or take away from you. That's a natural right of everyone. And it's the first law of nature, self-preservation. In all actuality, I wish the young brother Cyrus Carmack Belton would have exercised self-preservation. I wish he would have defended himself, because they was chasing him. They was chasing him. He was running for his life and he lost his life. And then when they found the gun, they used it as a justification for killing that 14-year-old. And subsequently, that was the reason why Rick Chow, Andy Chow's the father, Rick Chow was found not guilty because he was in possession of a gun. But that means nothing if two grown men are chasing you because they suspected you of stealing water when you hadn't stole anything. But the young man died for nothing, just like the little baby down in Mississippi died for nothing. If you do a report and you say that two adult women were walking out to Walmart and one had a baby in their hands, this means that you knew that there was a baby in the car. Why would you shoot into that car knowing that a baby was in the car? That's indiscriminately and it's reckless when that cop shot into that car knowing that it was a baby in the car. But he didn't care because it was one of our children. He didn't care. They don't exercise caution, courtesy when it comes to us. They don't. But they expect us to respect them and see them as heroes when they don't display any heroism whatsoever. As a matter of fact, for the most part, they display cowardice behavior. Whenever you say, I'm trying to get home or officer safety over public safety, you are a damn coward. I'm trying to get home with this, and I can understand trying to get home. Salute to my brother, Milestone Thoughts. Thank you for joining, family. I appreciate it. But when you put officer safety over the public safety, you are a coward. And you shouldn't be in that position. Their fear is valid and justified over our fear also. Police officers' fear. They are quick to say officer safety. Officer safety. Scared to death with a belt full of weapons. Whole entire belt is full of weapons. Levels of force. Levels of force they have on their belts. And when I was growing up, a young man, even when I was a young man, the police, they didn't pull their guns out like they do today. I don't know where these dudes came from. They did not pull their guns out like they do today, like they did in the past 25, 30 years. Those police where I grew up at will fight you. They will fight you. I mean, literally fight you. Not roll up like 30 deep and just jump on one man. No, they will actually fight you. And they didn't pull their guns out because they got in a fight. Nowadays, you hit a cop, they're reaching for their damn gun. because they hiring punks, straight up punks, killing unarmed men and children, little girls, fighting little girls under the guise of public safety. People shouldn't cringe when they see a cop. They shouldn't cringe when they see a cop, but people cringe when they see a cop because the cop don't make them feel safe. People feel unsafe when the cops come. Because if you call the cops, if somebody called the cops because someone is suicidal and the cops come and the cops end up killing the person that's suicidal, the cop is useless. You can't stop somebody from killing themselves. You show up and you kill them when they're suicidal, you are useless. What good are you? Absolutely nothing. Calling you a piece of shit would be an upgrade to you. If you show up to a suicidal person and the cop end up killing the person, I'm gonna do a video presentation consistent with the question and the topic of the evening. Whose fear is valid, justified? Because they love to say they fear for their life. And Caucasian would start shit and then just to have a reason to pull out their weapon because they're punks in all actuality.
A dispute over a parking space led to an argument, a fatal shooting, and now a lot more talk about stand your ground laws. Meg Oliver is in Clearwater, Florida.
We did everything together. You know, it's tough.
Brittany Jacobs is still hurting. The shooting happened last Thursday in this convenience store parking lot.
The crazy part is the sheriff won't charge the man in this deadly parking dispute. Let me give you some context. This man that you see on the screen has his child with him. They goes into the store. The woman is parked in a handicap place. I don't know if the man was handicapped or not, but he felt compelled to go jump in that woman's face. This happened July 19th, 2018. This is kind of old, but I'm just giving examples of they saying somebody not supposed to stab somebody because they were pushed. This man was pushed and he pulled out a gun and shot the brother dead. So I don't want to hear that bullshit about someone can't do what they think they need to do because they were pushed. I don't want to hear it because there's several examples of white men doing the same thing.
Parking lot. The family of 5 parked in a handicapped spot. 28-year-old Marquise McGlotton and his 5-year-old son went inside. That's when 47-year-old Michael Draka confronted her.
He was just, harassing me about a parking space, about a handicapped parking space.
McGlotton returned and shoved Draka to the ground. That's when Draka drew his gun and fired a single shot into McGlotton's chest. He stumbled back in the store and collapsed in front of his son. A day later, the Pinellas County Sheriff declared he could not charge Draka. Criminal defense.
He's not standing his ground if the man is backing up from him. The man's no threat. The man did not advance towards him after he pushed him down. He just got him out his woman's face and he reached up. See, a lot of times these crackers, they do this for that particular reason, just to justify themselves pulling out their weapon. They'll have a weapon on them and become chest out and eager to pull their weapon out, and they'll go starting with somebody just to get their desired result.
Defense attorney Anthony Rickman says the fact that McGlotton backed up after the shove raises concerns.
And the question is at that point in time, was there the possibility of imminent serious bodily injury or death of Draka that justified the use of deadly force. And watching that video,
now he wasn't supposed to pull his gun out and shoot. He shouldn't have been in that man's woman's face. Shouldn't have been in her face. But the man is not advancing towards him, as you can see on the screen. He's not advancing towards him. He's actually retreating because the punk pulled out a weapon. And this is an unarmed man. He's unarmed, so I don't want to hear that bullshit about this is Florida, a stand your ground state just like Texas. But they were justifying this. The sheriff wouldn't charge the man for shooting this man in cold blood after he started the confrontation in the first place. What man is not going to get another man out of his woman's face? See, I don't know. He'll be waking up. The push, he should have knocked his ass out. That's what he should have did.
I don't think so.
At least 23 other states also have so-called stand your ground laws allowing them to use deadly force against an attacker. They all say victims have no duty to retreat. Jacobs is left trying to comprehend how her 3 children lost their father over a trip to buy snacks.
Because all my men.
It happens just that fast. A trip to go buy snacks for his children, his family, and this wicked ass demon walks up to this man's woman, yelling and screaming at her. And of course, he's going to get him out of her face. Any man would do that. And I would not have no problem with any man that get somebody out their woman's face.
My man was trying to do is protect his girl like anybody else would, you know, and stand by, you know, his family's side.
The case is not over. It's now up to Florida State Attorney to determine whether to seek a grand jury indictment. Jeff?
Meg, thank you very much.
Staying consistent with what we're talking about.
Well, that was my high school sweetheart. And it hurt so bad.
For Brittany Jacobs, there are no words that will ease her pain after losing the love of her life and the father of her children outside this Florida convenience store. Her boyfriend, 28-year-old Marquise McLaughlin, was shot and killed by this man, who says he fired his gun in self-defense. The shooting has lit up the streets.
The confrontation between the two men turned into a shooting.
Testing the stand your ground law.
And poured gas on the fiery debate over controversial stand your ground laws.
It's around 3:30, so you know that's a busy time.
All I'm saying is,
Jacobs.
All I'm saying is, if you're going to say this man was standing his ground, when we use that same law, we don't want to hear it. We don't want to hear it when we exercise that same law. We don't want to hear it. We don't want to hear that, you know, Austin Metcalf, who was much larger than Carmelo Anthony, he had a right to put his hands on him, and Carmelo Anthony didn't have the right to do and use whatever measure of defense that he needed to, that he felt he needed to, not what anybody outside of Carmelo Anthony had to say or think. Nobody outside of that could tell that young man how he's supposed to deal with that.
Jacobs says she and her boyfriend needed something at the convenience store Thursday afternoon. The store's security cameras were recording it all.
I'm going with the first parking space around this time, which was a handicap parking spot. My man Marquise gets out, and my son Marquise Jr. get out, and they go in the store. I'm sitting in the car with a 3-year-old and a 4-month-old.
After about 20 minutes, she says she sees a silver Jeep pull around, and then this man, Michael Draka, steps out and walks around her car.
You know, I'm feeling scared around this time because I don't know this man.
He did that intentionally too, because he probably was drunk, or he probably was out his mind, or he probably just a racist ass bastard that was seeking what he can devour. And why would you walk up to a woman with children in the car berating her? Why would you do that? But the problem I have with some of us is we live in these states with these laws and we don't exercise them ourselves. If you live in if you live in an open carry state or concealed carry state, unless you're living in New York or New Jersey, you should have a gun on you all the time, like everybody else. I'm not understanding why our people don't see this and don't see that these people walk around with these guns just to start trouble. They get real chest out and tough with the guns in their hand, and you should be able to even that plane. That's what you should be able to do, is even that plane when somebody acting all tough, only because they have a weapon, not because they're tough. And when you're able to flex muscle equally to them, a coward always back down. That's what a coward always do, because they're not as willing to die as they are to kill. They're just willing to kill. But when it comes to when the plane is like even, they cower every single time.
And he goes to the front of my car. He's saying that I'm parked in a handicap spot, which I'm clearly very aware of.
They start exchanging words. It gets angry.
This man is now yelling at me and telling me to move my effing car. Marquise comes out, pushes the man and telling him to get away from his girl.
Marquise steps back because now Marquise is in danger.
The man he just pushed pulls a gun from his pocket, and in a flash, he pulls the trigger.
Everybody by this time is panicking.
Her boyfriend stumbles back into the store. Their 5-year-old son is watching his father die. Marquise McLaughlin is pronounced dead at the hospital.
It's a memory that's always going to be with my 5-year-old. My 3 kids will be without a father.
She says what happened the next day blew her mind. The Pinellas County Sheriff's Department announced that it was not charging or arresting Michael Draka.
Under these circumstances, we cannot make an arrest.
Police say that he was standing his ground.
The law on stand your ground is clear, and the Florida legislature has spoken on this.
The law is extremely subjective. If they believe reasonably that they are in harm's way, they can use force and even deadly force to protect themselves.
But this was not the case, because that man was backing up. He wasn't advancing towards him. The most that he did was guy him out his woman's face, and he was the aggressor. You can't say you're standing your ground being the aggressor. You can't accost someone, then when somebody back you up off them, you say you're standing your ground. You were the aggressor. Being the aggressor negates standing your ground.
Brittany Jacobs says her boyfriend was defending her.
Who, as a real man, will see another man arguing with his girl?
Exactly.
Like, who wouldn't stand up and defend their lady?
There are reports that this isn't Draka's first time getting into an argument over a parking space.
Just to argue, just to find someone to argue with?
The owner of the convenience store says he had to call the police a month ago after Draka got into a shouting match with this man.
Out here, he said he'll shoot me, call me and stuff like that. So
again, just as I suspected, he came here for that particular reason. Even the store owner had a problem with this guy. The store owner.
I think it's a racial issue.
But police say the history doesn't matter.
So what's relevant is not whether this guy's a good guy, nice guy, or whether he's a jerk. What's relevant was
that he was white and he get to kill our brothers and sisters with impunity. And that law is subjective. It should be, okay, if you're in danger, if someone's not advancing towards you, how could you consider yourself in any type of danger, not alone imminent danger?
he in fear of further bodily harm?
I think stand your ground laws have become controversial. If the police believe that there is probable cause that someone used the stand your ground law, they can't make an arrest.
In 2005, Florida was the first state to put stand your ground laws on the book. And since then, more than 33 states have passed similar laws. People who support them say they allow homeowners, for example, to protect themselves from robbers and other criminals.
Have just been broken into.
I don't have a problem with someone protecting their home. If somebody break into your home, in your home especially, I think you do not have not one iota of duty to retreat in your damn home. Somebody break in your home and you lay them down, their arms are just supposed to be crossed. That's it. Zipped up in plastic. When that happens, that's it.
3 men, 2 have shot in my house.
It's what happened in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma last year.
Are they bleeding? Yes, I believe one's down, one's still talking. You need to get here now.
That's 23-year-old Zach Peters on the line, locked inside his bedroom after shooting at the 3 teenagers who broke into his home.
Okay, what did you shoot them with?
AR-15.
Okay.
All 3 of the teens died. Peters was not charged with a crime.
It is the opinion of this office that Zachary Peters acted justifiably.
I mean, that's different. That's different when somebody's breaking in your home from you're starting trouble and when someone obliged you, especially when you're in that woman's face. He had every right to get you out of this woman's face.
And in accordance with his rights as an Oklahoma citizen, when he used deadly force to defend his home.
Attorney Gerald Griggs says in his experience, race matters in who can use these self-defense laws. White defendants, yes. Black defendants, not so much, he says.
Do you think the law is useful? I think in certain cases it's useful, but I think in certain cases the effect is discriminatory.
So should it be on the books?
Very discriminatory, because when we use the law, when we use the right, they don't apply it when we use it. They try to prosecute us when we use it. The same exact scenarios, and they'll try to prosecute us.
You know, I've always been a proponent of self-defense. I believe in self-defense, but I believe that self-defense should apply in all communities, regardless of race or ethnic background, sexual orientation.
He feels police shouldn't be making the call, that each shooter should initially be arrested.
A large majority.
I think it should be the call of the state attorney and the grand jury. The police shouldn't make the call. It should be the district attorney or the state attorney and the grand jury. Police should not make the call.
Majority of the cases against African Americans are not resolved appropriately.
But saying you were standing your ground doesn't automatically mean the shooter avoids prosecution. Just ask Curtis Reeves.
What did you do with that pistol?
I shot him.
In 2014, the 75-year-old retired police officer shot and killed 43-year-old Chad Olson during an argument at this Florida movie theater.
Why did you shoot him?
At that point, it was his life or mine.
The two were arguing because Olson was using his cell phone during the previews of the movie. In court, Reeves said he fired in self-defense and said he felt threatened for his life because Olson was younger and taller.
He was getting ready to punch me, and I...
That's not a reason to shoot somebody because he's younger and taller and because you're having a verbal altercation. That's no reason to pull a gun. And his old ass should do life in prison, which would probably be only 5 to 6 years based on his age.
I perceived that at some point, and that's when the pistol came out.
But at a pretrial hearing, the judge wasn't buying it, saying Reeves was anything but afraid. Olson's wife, Nicole, who was sitting next to him, says her husband was using the phone to reach their babysitter.
Can nobody in the world stand up in a movie theater without having to fear that they are in jeopardy of losing their life?
She was shot in the hand by the bullet that killed her husband. Reeves goes on trial for second-degree murder this February. In Pinellas County, Florida, the state attorney will now investigate the case.
Prosecutors and law enforcement officers don't like stand your ground laws. It was really clear in Florida when it was passed in 2002. Prosecutors came up and said that they felt that this took away their charging decision. And it really does that in effect.
There's no way this man should be out free, walking around, still armed.
Brittany Jacobs knows that no court can bring back the father of her children, but she's hoping it will bring them justice.
I just want justice. I need something to be done because this is not right. Something should have been done about this a long, long time ago. It shouldn't have to happen, for a man to, pass away in front of his child.
For Nightline, I'm Steve Osunsami in Atlanta.
Going on from there, but being consistent with the subject matter, whose fear is valid and justified?
Stand your ground statutes are controversial, and more than half the country has one of those statutes in place. I spoke to experts about the laws and why researchers say they have different implications for people of color. In the span of 1 week, 3 shootings with a similar story. Young people made a mistake. The cases bringing renewed focus to stand your ground laws. What exactly are stand your ground laws?
Stand your ground statutes really greatly expand your ability to use self-defense.
Cami Chavez is the director of the Center for Criminal Justice Policy and Reform at William & Mary College. She says most states provide some form of protection for self-defense, but at least 28 states and Puerto Rico have enacted stand your ground or similar laws.
Self-defense also imposes a duty to retreat before using force. When we're talking about stand your ground statutes, is that some states have legislation that removes the duty to retreat in all circumstances.
The laws have stirred controversy over the years. No justice! In 2012, the death of Trayvon Martin sparked conversations about stand your ground in Florida, known to have among the strongest statutes in the country. Martin.
Now, Trayvon Martin's case, I don't understand how that became a stand your ground case. When he approached, you got a man 37 years old approaching a 17-year-old. Even if that 17-year-old did what he said he was doing to him, beating his ass, he's supposed to take that ass whooping. That's it, because dispatch, when he called the police and said Trayvon Martin was walking through the neighborhood, walking from a store because he was going to watch basketball, on the phone with his girl while he walking through the neighborhood. And if a grown-ass man approach him and he start beating that grown-ass man, he can't say that he was standing his ground. He can't, because you can't go to a threat and then say, I'm standing my ground. Dispatch told him to not approach him. Dispatch, that alone should have gotten him arrested, charged, and convicted, because just like Esther Child, Alice Child, whatever her name is, Alice Child, she started the whole thing with the young brother Cyrus Belton. He started the whole thing. You don't get to accost people and then when they whoop your ass, you're going to say, oh, I'm scared now. Who goes to a threat? But the laws are different when it comes to us. They want to switch and move the goalposts when it comes to us. When we exercise those laws and those rights, we exercise those rights legitimately. We don't go around because we got a gun starting trouble with people just to have a reason to pull our weapon. That's what they do. Because in all reality, they're cowards.
A 17-year-old unarmed black boy was fatally shot by George Zimmerman, who later claimed self-defense and was acquitted following a criminal trial. Proponents of these laws, including the National Rifle Association and the Second Amendment Foundation, say they protect citizens when they're in danger.
The oldest human right is the right of self-preservation. You can stand your ground and initiate self-defense protocols however you deem necessary.
They essentially tell people that if you're in public and you feel threatened, you can use deadly force and take another human life, even if you could have retreated.
The journal.
Just like Daniel Penny in New York with Jordan Neely. Jordan Neely on a train flipping out because he's hungry. Instead of somebody saying, okay, here's $10, here's $5, here's $10, go get you something to eat. Or just talking to that young brother, a big 6'5" veteran or military veteran sneak up behind the young brother and put him in a chokehold and choke him out until he died. And while he's trying to fight and take the man's hand from around his neck, you got some damn immigrant tethers holding his hand, preventing him from fighting back. They prevented him from fighting back. But the state of New York said that was okay. And Daniel Penny was acquitted of just grabbing a random person on a train and choking him to death. They said it's okay. But I guarantee you, if it was a white boy flipping out like that and one of us did that to him, he'd be in Rikers Island right now. Upstate New York right now, if that was one of us.
Of the American Medical Association's 2022 study found stand your ground laws were associated with an 8 to 11% increase in monthly rates of homicide and firearm homicide. But studies show stand your ground outcomes are not the same for all people. In 2020, the U.S. Commission on Civil Rights releasing a report on stand your ground laws in Florida. The study found cases involving a white shooter and black victims were 10 times more likely to be ruled as justified compared to a black shooter and white victims. The study also found.
And that study is absolutely correct. Because if we stand our ground, we get prosecuted. They stand their ground, no charges are filed.
The number of homicides of black people deemed justifiable more than doubled in stand your ground states in the 6 years after the law was implemented. In the cases of the 3 young people shot last week, Chavez says, like the laws themselves, the potential outcomes are mixed.
Each case has different facts, and we're also dealing with different statutes.
And it is important to add there have been efforts to change or repeal stand your ground laws, but those statewide repeals have largely been limited.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC.
From there, being consistent with whose fear is
WBKO News at 5.
And stand your ground is based on fear. Stand your ground is based on fear, whether or not you are in an imminent threat. If there's an imminent threat to your life, that's what stand your ground is based on. And stand your ground was actually more than likely put into place to be able to shoot one of us with impunity. All we have to do is say they were scared. That's all they have to do is say they were scared, and they can shoot one of us. They can start with us, shoot one of us, and get off. That's what stand your ground's about. But they don't agree with stand your ground when we do it.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us at 5. I'm Allie Hennard. Gun violence has been an ongoing topic across the country. Most recently, the shootings of a Kansas City teen and a young woman in New York. They brought national attention to stand your ground laws and what they mean for self-defense.
Yes, Allie, and based on a new study published by JAMA Network Open, it estimates that stand your ground laws result in an additional 700 homicides each year. That's an increase in monthly homicide rates of 11% nationally, but up to 28% in some states. WBKO's Derek Parham spoke with attorneys to learn more about these laws.
30 states across the country, Kentucky included, have stand your ground laws in place.
In simplest terms, the laws apply anywhere that a person has a legal right to be and takes away any duty to retreat when utilizing deadly force in cases of self-defense.
Stand your ground refers to repealing the duty to retreat in public, meaning that you can take someone else's life even if you could have left the conflict without harm to yourself or anyone else.
Kentucky self-defense.
Especially with that no duty to retreat. That means that you can start shit and then claim that you are standing your ground, claim that you were in an imminent threat in the event that you use deadly force after you started the trouble, the confrontation in the first place. Oh yeah, that's definitely some coward-ass white man shit.
Defense laws include a clause allowing for the defense of others, but for this defense, the acting party must be absolutely sure that there is immediate danger to somebody else.
In that situation where I am using the defense of others, I must be correct in my understanding, and if I'm mistaken, I can be charged criminally for that.
To justify any use of force, a person must be able to prove a real sense of danger existed before they defended themselves, often creating a legal gray area.
The self-defense law only applies if you are under specific and direct attack, and you certainly do not have the right to use it against someone who is merely a trespasser or someone who mistakenly comes to your door.
According to Kentucky statute.
We're going to get to that part. We're going to get to that part because white people will shoot through their door if one of us come to their door by mistake, going to the wrong house or making a delivery to the wrong house, working for FedEx or Amazon or UPS, going to the wrong door can get you shot. If you're one of us, going to the wrong door get you shot.
Statute KRS 503.055. Stand your ground laws apply only to active attacks, not the suspicion of one about to occur or when the attack has already ended.
If someone is breaking into your home, you can use deadly force to defend yourself. If they change their mind and they're running out across your front yard trying to get back to their car and you use deadly force in that situation.
You cannot shoot a fleeing burglar. You can't. I don't think you can do that in any state. You can't shoot a fleeing burglar. You got to let them go.
Then you're going to be the perpetrator.
While highly controversial, stand your ground laws have been in place here in Kentucky since 2006, allowing the use of lethal force as self-defense in cases of imminent danger.
If someone is simply mistaken and goes to an address by accident, or if their ball rolls over into someone's yard, it is totally inappropriate and not supported by the law to use deadly force in that situation.
Reporting in Bowling Green, Derek Parham, WBKO News.
Moving on from that video.
The following segment is sponsored by Harding Mazzotti.
A 20-year-old.
So what's this?
Woman is dead, and a man has been charged with second-degree murder after a shooting over the weekend in the town of Hebron in Washington County. Police say that 4 people in a vehicle went up the wrong driveway looking for a friend's house, and the suspect allegedly fired 2 shots, one of which struck the vehicle. What does this mean in the context of New York State?
Let me run that back. Let me run that back. Listen to this close.
A 20-year-old woman is dead, and a man has been charged with second-degree murder after a shooting over the weekend in the town of Hebron in Washington County. Police say that 4 people in a vehicle went up the wrong driveway looking for a friend's house, and the suspect allegedly fired 2 shots, one of which struck the vehicle. What does this mean in the context of New York State self-defense laws? Well, here to help us discuss this is managing partner Paul Harding from the law firm Harding Mazzotti. Paul, thanks so much for joining us this afternoon.
Absolutely.
So I guess the first thing we want to touch on is that even though it seems clear that the victim and her friends going up this guy's driveway by mistake, they weren't a threat. You hear about these stand your ground laws in a lot of states. Does New York have this, or what does New York have?
It has brought up that whole conversation. So New York does not have a stand your ground rule. What is that? That means that if you are on the public street or actually outside of your house on your land and you're confronted with the serious physical harm and you have the duty to retreat, right? In the state of New York, in the state of Florida, famously, you do not have to retreat. You can use lethal force if you believe that you're in serious physical harm. Not to be confused with the Castle Doctrine. So in New York State, if you're in your home and someone enters your home and you feel you're in serious harm way, you then can use lethal force. And it's perfectly, so the states change, the conversation changes, but to your point, do any of these facts exist here?
Yeah, I know. And lethal force, you were saying that is only if somebody is someone came into your house. It's not because in this case, it was what police said or sheriff's deputies said that the guy shot from off his porch.
Correct. There would be absolutely no reason, no justification, even if he did feel that he was in serious physical danger. If they had a gun pointing at him, the facts could change, but none of those facts seem to exist here.
Yeah. How, just in your personal opinion, how do you think this case is going to turn out?
Yeah, so again, the facts are, it's an unthinkable event. Everyone's trying to figure out what was going on in his mind, where someone is coming to your driveway and a shot is fired. Is the shot fired accidentally? Was he having other things happening in his life? Were there mental issues happening? We don't know any of that. But the fact is, I see him, that he's charged appropriately and he would be convicted unless there's other facts that come about that would change that analysis.
All right. Well, we'll have to wait and see what happens. He will be in court today.
Yes, absolutely.
Paul.
Now, this next video is a more famous case that just ended in the conviction of
The
25.
woman at the center of a fatal neighborhood feud shooting is under arrest today. 58.
Now, this woman here is the face of evil. She was berating children who were playing outside, and the mother wanted to know what was the problem, and went over to the house and knocked on the door, and she shot the sister through the door, taking her life.
8-year-old Susan Lorenz is charged with manslaughter in the death of her neighbor, mother of 4, A.J. Owens. The local Florida sheriff posted this video announcing the arrest.
The justice we have all been seeking has been served.
4 children will never see their mother again.
I spoke to the slain woman's grieving mother, Pamela Dias, today.
What do you think about the manslaughter charge? Do you think it should be upgraded?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm happy.
It should be murder charges, because if she walked up to the door and knocked on the door, and not only that, if you do something to solicit a response from somebody and that person come to you, not to fight you, just to knock on your door to see what problem you have with the children. What problem you have with the children? And it's crazy for you to shoot through the damn door. That's insane.
That there was an arrest, but I'm a little disappointed in the charges.
We're learning more about the long-running feud between the two neighbors, including claims that Owens was caught opening the neighbor's mailbox and walking with her dog on the neighbor's property.
Cops say the fatal encounter between the two feuding neighbors came when Lorenz threw a roller skate at Owens' children. Cops say she also swung an umbrella at them. The mom went to confront the neighbor. That's when the suspect allegedly fired a single shot through the front door, killing the 35-year-old mom.
Loren's arrest follows demands for action from the Owens family and their lawyer, Benjamin Crump.
Did the news of the arrest come as a surprise?
Only that it took 4 days is what came as a surprise. We knew that there was probable cause there.
Lorenz, an insurance agent, is claiming that Owens has attacked her in the past and that her actions were justified under Florida's Stand Your Ground law. The sheriff says that's not so.
That's what they do. They will try to use the Stand Your Ground law. They will solicit a response from someone, accost you, bait you. It's really baiting. And then when you fight the bait. They always try to use stand your ground, act like they're scared, because in all reality, the most sad thing to see in the sentiment of a white man is a white woman crying.
This situation is a prime example of when it was not justified. It was simply a killing.
I want justice for my daughter. Her dying cannot be in vain.
See, the thing is with Benjamin Crump is not a litigator. Benjamin Crump's not a litigator. Benjamin Crump is a civil lawyer. He wants to get the money. He's about the money. He's not a litigator that goes in and defend clients. He's not a defense attorney. He's not a litigator at all. He goes in and he makes deal that's going to get some money. That's what he does. Fair use. That was courtesy of Inside Edition.
The Florida woman accused of fatally shooting her neighbor through her.
This is an update of the video that we just seen. She got 25 years in prison for doing this.
Her front door has been sentenced to 25 years in prison. The victim, Ajika Owens, a mother of 4, was shot in front of one of her kids. Prosecutors said the ongoing dispute stemmed from Owens' children playing outside when Lorenz allegedly called them racial slurs. Owens responded by knocking on Lorenz's door, and then shots were fired. The gunwoman apologizing, saying she never meant to kill Ajika.
Miss Lawrence was behind the door. The door was locked. She had already called law enforcement. They were en route.
Susan's apology was a last-ditch attempt to save herself. It wasn't sincere. She never showed remorse.
The trial tested Florida's stand your ground law, which allows deadly force in self-defense in certain situations.
South Carolina's stand.
Not when you're behind the door with the door secured. You can't say you're standing your ground because you're not in imminent threat or imminent danger.
Stand your ground law brought into the spotlight by this recent high-profile case, the death of Scott Spivey. Happened in 2023 in Longs, where according to 911 calls, Weldon Boyd said Scott Spivey shot at him from his car. Reports say Boyd followed Spivey for miles until Boyd told a 911 dispatcher that they were stopping and about to have a shootout.
Now, you can't say you're standing your ground if you're following somebody. If that person shot at you and drove off and you follow them, you are not standing your ground because you're going towards the threat. You can't say you're standing your ground and you're going towards the threat.
Spivey died, and while his family is pushing for charges against Boyd, last week the state attorney general's office said the stand your ground law applied in this case. The lines can get blurry when it comes to stand your ground.
Florida is crazy. This is South Carolina, I think. Yeah, this is South Carolina. This is the Rick Chow state, where you can chase somebody. I forgot what state this is. You can actually chase somebody in South Carolina and then shoot them and then say you're standing your ground. That's how it is in South Carolina.
Ground, and it really depends on each situation. And that's why ABC 15's Gianna Forbes helping us dig into what it all truly means. She joins us live in studio. Gianna.
Yeah, Connor, it can be a bit unclear, and you might even start second guessing if you think you're in clear and imminent danger to use force or deadly force within this law. But here in South Carolina, there is no duty to retreat.
A man's home is his castle. It's a term that
Duty to retreat is one thing, but to chase someone and then saying you're standing your ground, it's not duty to retreat. You're chasing someone, accosting them, being the aggressor. How can you be the aggressor and stand your ground at the same time? Makes no sense.
That applies to you and me within the castle doctrine, as stated in South Carolina law, letting you protect yourself against intruders in your home, business, or car. But as of 2006, there's also a stand your ground law. It's known as the Protection of Persons and Property Act. It breaks down when you and I have the right to use force or deadly force on another when we feel we're in danger anywhere.
At some point, if they can use force or imminent deadly force to stop someone if they feel like they're in danger with bodily harm or death. Yeah, they can use whatever force is necessary to stop that person as long as they met those other criteria.
And according to the law, the General Assembly believes no person should surrender his own safety. Unlike
Which is why I don't understand why our people are not exercising the same sentiments and rights. We can watch these videos and see what's going on, and some of our people just won't get with the program because we're dealing with scared to death cowards who are not chest out absent a weapon. But if you make it even, they would reevaluate their sentiments because, again, they are not as willing to die as they are to kill. They know that you can pull out and they're taking a chance on being, getting their arms folded. They're going to change their whole mind.
Unlike other states, South Carolina's law doesn't have a duty to retreat from the situation or incident.
The South Carolina Stand Your Ground law says you do not have to retreat.
But at what point might you become the aggressor in a situation where you don't retreat?
They can become the aggressor to stop the incident. So they can use force all the way up to deadly force as long as they meet the criteria of the Stand Your Ground law.
There are certain parameters for stand your ground according to the law.
That's insane. You can be the aggressor. You can be the aggressor in South Carolina, which is why Rick Child was the aggressor with the young brother Cyrus Carmack Belton, chased him over 130 yards and shot him in the back. And the state of South Carolina said it's okay.
The law, where it may not apply if you're engaged in unlawful activity or if it involves any sort of child or grandchild being removed from a home due to custody issues.
The most important thing about the Stand Your Ground law is to make sure that you as a person are doing everything correctly, lawfully, and legally, and that you see for sure that a person is looking at imminent death or serious bodily harm.
Khan says most people who come into Cormac have questions on when you should shoot and when you shouldn't in certain situations. But if you're still unsure about this, make sure to take a certified weapons class. Live in studio, Gian.
Don't move over from that. Go to the next video. Consistent with
the shootings of two people just in the last week who mistakenly stepped onto someone else's property.
Consistent with whose fear is valid and justified.
Have both made national news. In Kansas City, Missouri, 16-year-old Ralph Yarl was shot twice, including once in the head, after he rang the wrong doorbell. Days later, 20-year-old Ken Gillis was shot while sitting in a car that pulled into...
Let me run it back.
Shootings of...
This is how crazy it is with these so-called stand your ground laws. Let me run this back so you can get the gist of how sick and insane and unjustified these laws are.
The shootings of two people just in the last week who mistakenly stepped onto someone else's property have both made national news. In Kansas City, Missouri, 16-year-old Ralph Yarl was shot twice, including once in the head, after he rang the wrong doorbell. Days later, 20-year-old Ken Gillis was shot while sitting in a car that pulled into the wrong driveway in upstate New York. Both are sparking conversations about stand your ground laws. CBS Austin's Paige Hubbard joins us live tonight after speaking with a legal expert to break down your rights when it comes to protecting your home. Paige.
Hema, since both of these situations happened in different states, we learned that stand your ground laws vary depending on where you live. But the attorney you'll hear from in my story tonight is explaining how those laws work here in Texas. The stories of 16-year-old Raph Yarl and 20-year-old Kaylin Gillis have touched the nation. Kansas City police say 84-year-old Andrew Lester shot Yarl in the head and arm last Thursday as he tried to pick up his siblings but mixed up the address. In court documents, Lester says he opened fire because Yarl was touching his door handle, but Yarl says he never pulled on the door or spoke to Lester. Days later in rural upstate New York, Washington County authorities say Gillis was killed after she and three friends accidentally turned into 65-year-old Kevin Monahan's driveway while looking for a friend's home. The sheriff says Monahan fired shots at the car as they were leaving.
They were turning around, leaving, so there certainly was no threat.
What it seems to me, at least, is that these people are using deadly force when it's absolutely not justified, it's not legal, it's not appropriate.
Austin-based attorney Robert Ranko believes both shootings are a result of misunderstanding the castle doctrine. He wants Central Texans to know what this means if someone mistakenly comes onto their property.
You don't get the protection of the castle doctrine merely because somebody comes to your front door.
Exactly.
There has to be that reasonable belief that there's...
Exactly. Merely coming to your door doesn't mean that you are exercising castle doctrine, especially when the person is not coming to your door aggressively. Making a mistake in coming to your door doesn't constitute any castle doctrine.
There's an imminent threat right in front of you.
Ranko says under Texas law, words alone aren't enough to claim self-defense, which can fall under the castle doctrine. If your home has a driveway, walkway, and doorbell without a gated fence or signage saying no trespassing or soliciting, Ranko calls this implied consent. This legally gives someone the right to knock on your door.
If somebody utilizes this implied consent, you can't use deadly force just because you don't like maybe what they look like.
Ranko adds if you do have signs posted and someone comes into your property, you must.
Which is most case scenario with this young brother that was laying on the hospital bed because he made a mistake and went to someone's house, because he was picking his siblings up and he went to the wrong house. He looked at him and seen that he was one of us and just shot him.
Still prove that they pose physical harm.
Bottom line, if you're a homeowner and somebody comes to your door who doesn't pose you any imminent threat, don't shoot them. It's pretty simple.
Tonight, Yarl is at home recovering from his injuries. Today, Andrew Lester turned himself in to authorities but was released on bond. Monahan has been charged with second-degree murder in the death of Caitlin. Reporting live downtown, Paige Hubbard, CBS Austin News.
People are crazy and they take advantage of laws.
We are challenged just walking while Black, eating while Black, swimming while Black, living while Black, driving while Black is a problem. And now we can't even walk up to someone's door and ring a doorbell without fear of being murdered.
You have heard this horror story too many times before. A Black teenager is out doing a mundane task. In 2012, it was a quick trip to a convenience store. The teenager was 17 and he was on his way back to his father's place with a bottle of juice and a bag of Skittles. He was wearing a hoodie and he was Black. His name was Trayvon Martin. And a 28-year-old neighbor, George Zimmerman, claimed he was acting in self-defense when he shot Trayvon. There had been a series of robberies in the area, and Zimmerman said he shot Trayvon because he was afraid. He feared bodily harm. Months passed before Zimmerman was actually arrested and charged.
It's racist ass Florida for you. Sanford, Florida, racist ass Sanford, Florida. Now, this should have been a cut and dry case when the jury heard that dispatch tape of him on the phone, and then he's using all these racial epithets towards the young brother as he was walking through, and then that brother ended up dead. It should have been a clear-cut case of outright premeditated murder.
For killing Trayvon Martin. He wasn't charged on the spot because police said they couldn't disprove Zimmerman's version of the events, that he was defending himself, that he stood his ground. After weeks of protesters sounding the alarm, George Zimmerman was finally charged with second-degree murder. Eventually, he was acquitted. In 2020,
it should have been first-degree murder because it was premeditated. After dispatch told him to not approach Trayvon Martin.
It was an afternoon jog in a coastal Georgia town. The jogger was 25 years old. He was black. His workout caught the attention of 3 local men who grabbed their guns and hopped in a truck and began to follow the jogger. The men said there had been a string of robberies in the area. They said they were scared. They thought the jogger was the thief. The jogger was Ahmaud Arbery. 3 men chased him down, and 2 of them shot him dead. Still, they also walked away from that shooting as free men. They claimed they were defending themselves under the state's stand your ground laws.
And that's because the state attorney tried to cover it up until not mainstream news, us, until we got a hold to it and we exposed this case to mainstream media. Because whatever her name is, Jackie Johnson tried to cover this up.
More than 10 weeks passed before those men were arrested. They were eventually convicted of murder. Stand your ground laws exploded after 2012 when George Zimmerman killed Trayvon Martin. Now, more than 30 states have laws that do away with the idea that people have a duty to retreat from a dangerous situation that they encounter at their home or even in some public space.
Because they seen that the stand your ground law is something that works. When you kill one of us, you will be acquitted. So I guess when we drive through these areas, or if they feel like they feel antsy, because let me tell you, they have deer hunting and bear hunting every year, every fall for a reason. To get killing out their system. These people love killing. That's why they go hunting, to get a kill out of their system. And some of them do deer hunting and they do bear hunting every single year. I know they do it in New Jersey every year because they got to get killing out their system because they are murderers. They love to kill. Bloodthirsty.
Spaces. Instead, a person who reasonably believes they are in danger of death or serious harm can use deadly force. But that law tends to exacerbate some potentially fatal racial disparities. First, there is the fundamental question of whose presence in this country is often deemed suspicious or questionable and whose rarely is. And then there's how the law is applied. When white Americans in a stand your ground state, when white Americans shoot a black person dead and claim self-defense, the killing is ruled a justifiable homicide 34% of the time. But when the races are reversed, when it is a black shooter and a white victim, that rate plummets. Only 3% of those homicides are deemed justifiable. Which
3%.
brings us to last week, April 14th. It was a quick trip to pick up his little twin brothers, both 11 years old. He was 16 years old, and he rang the doorbell, but he had the wrong address for the house in Kansas City, Missouri, another state with a stand your ground law. The white homeowner, Andrew Lester, claims he thought it was a break-in and he was scared to death due to the male's size and his own advanced age, 84. For the record, the male in this case is a high school student named Ralph Yarl. Lester claims that because he was scared to death, he immediately shot Jarl in the head through a glass door. Jarl was taken to the hospital where he received surgery to remove the bullets. He was finally released over the weekend and is now recovering at home. Andrew Lester, for his part, was detained the night of the shooting, but then he was released hours later with no charges. He claimed self-defense in a stand your ground state. After a week,
Stand your ground when no one was aggressing him in any type of aggressive manner.
End of protests, Lester was finally charged yesterday with felony assault and armed criminal action. This afternoon, he turned himself in. And as of tonight, he is out on bail. His arraignment is scheduled for tomorrow. Lester's decision to shoot Ralph Jarl follows a pattern in stand your ground states, a white gunman who shoots a black child or a young man because of misplaced suspicion and fear.
Now we're going to go to more recently in Columbus, South Carolina, where Rick Chow and Cyrus Carmack Belton.
And good evening. Now we begin tonight with the latest in the Rick Chow murder trial, as today marks 3 years since 14-year-old Cyrus Carmack Belton was shot and killed outside a Columbia gas station.
And today, jurors heard hours of emotional testimony from witnesses while also seeing newly released body camera and store surveillance video from the day of that shooting. We want to show you one of those moments right now.
This Miss Hurry Up and Buy. She was actually following this young brother all around the store. Hurry up and buy. She started this whole entire confrontation, Alice Chow. She should be indicted, and so should Andy Chow. All three of them should be in prison. And none of us, the people down in Columbus, South Carolina, should be shopping at this store if it's still open. If it's still open, I doubt it. But if they are wherever they're at, as a matter of fact, they shouldn't be among our people. They shouldn't even be allowed to be among our people after this. Now they chased him. He ended up his life being taken, and they chased him. But South Carolina said that Rick Chow was standing his ground after they chased him over 130 yards.
In this video, you see Cyrus wearing a red jacket, telling Rick Chow's wife he does not have any water in his pockets before picking up his backpack and walking out of the store.
And shortly after, Cyrus was chased by Rick Chow and his son, Andy, before the teenager was shot.
News 19's Kiki Gushu was in the courtroom for all of today's testimony and the moment these videos were shown to jurors.
She is joining us right now from outside the Richland County Courthouse with the latest update. Hi there, Kiki.
Erica, JR, today's testimony moved away from what happened in the street that night Cyrus Carmack Belton was shot and moved back into the Shell gas station that Rick Chow owned. Now, today, most of the afternoon was spent showing the jurors, the prosecution showing the jurors, surveillance video from that Shell gas station. They also brought to the stand a new witness, investigator Tama Jordan. Now, the state played surveillance footage showing Cyrus inside the store and questioned former investigator Tama Jordan about the gas station's camera system. Jordan testified Rick Chow was familiar with the surveillance equipment, and prosecutors repeatedly asked whether those cameras could have been used to help identify Cyrus later rather than chasing him.
Do you think you would have some tools to help identify him?
Yes.
And investigate whether or not he had stolen water?
Yes.
Do you feel confident law enforcement could have handled this?
They had very clear, sophisticated surveillance cameras in that store. We can see them clear. If he did steal something with all the cameras in there, and you can clearly see him putting the bottles back anyway. And not only that, Alice Child was standing right behind him. She was standing right behind him. Absolutely.
Also presented testimony from a firearms expert who said the bullet recovered in the case matched a Glock 45. Late in the day, the defense shifted its focus to Cyrus's position.
Did you see Alice Child standing directly behind him? She is standing directly behind him as he's in the cooler with the waters. So there's no way she didn't see whether or not he had water. All of this could have been prevented if Alex Child wasn't just a damn liar, a racist ass liar.
45. Late in the day, the defense shifted its focus to Cyrus's possession of a firearm, showing jurors a social media photo taken the night before the shooting that showed him holding the same gun found at the scene. The final witness of the day was a forensic pathologist who testified about the path of the bullet through Cyrus's body. As attorneys continue to debate what his position.
The first act of war, the very first act of war is propaganda. Demonizing the person that you are going to war with, justifying the attack and the war. This is what these people do. This is what news do. News is never-ending white supremacy. And media is multi-ethnic destruction in America. This is what these people do. The very first act of war was to demonize this young brother, making him look like the villain. And they did this.
Was the moment he was shot.
Salute to my good brother and comrade, Maybach Mel. Salute, my brother.
And court has now wrapped for the day. The state is expected to rest tomorrow, and then it will be the defense's turn to bring witnesses to the stand. At 11, I'll be bringing you a recap of all of today's testimony. Stay tuned for that. And I'll be in the courtroom for the rest of this trial, bringing you the latest. Live in Richland County, Kiki Gushu, News 19, WLTX.
All right, Kiki, thank you so much.
News 19's Christy Calcagno sat down with an attorney today to get a better understanding of what happened today. Take a listen.
We're talking about with this video in the convenience store. There were parts that we were able to hear everything, which was also really interesting. And then also kind of those close-up shots, also specifically showing the water bottles.
Yes.
The moment on that. Kind of break that down for me. I mean, we were able to see some close-up shots. And like we said, all of this happening in the span of 2 minutes.
Right. I think the video clearly shows he didn't steal anything. You see him go to the cooler and,
What's also crazy about that is the young brother, when he walked in and Alex Child told him that he had to leave his bag up front, he immediately took his bag off and left it. And Alex Child was right behind him when he was in that cooler. So she knew he didn't take anything. She knew this.
I counted. He took 1, 2, 3, 4, and then he kind of pauses and puts 1, 2, 3, 4 back. So then when he leaves, it kind of left me wondering, well, what was his purpose for going there to begin with? Because he gets the water bottles. He knows he's being watched, right? Because they tell him to put his backpack up. And he complies with that. He follows that rule. Okay, fine. So he puts the backpack where he's told to put his backpack.
If I'm shopping in a store and I see that someone's watching me, I'm not giving them my money either. I'm putting away. I don't care if it's a cart full of groceries. If I find that somebody's watching me and following me around that store, I will leave that shopping cart and just walk out the store. I wouldn't give nobody my money. That's why I have a problem with the Walmarts They want to check your receipt as you spend $500-$600 in a damn Walmart. They want to check your receipt as you're leaving the store with all those damn surveillance cameras in the store.
But then he takes the 4 water bottles and puts them back and then leaves the store without taking anything. You know, I think if I were a juror here, I would know, well, he didn't shoplift anything. He didn't take anything. They're clearly from this video accusing him, and they think he did. They probably, in our mindset, we're looking very intently counting, you know, those water bottles because we know this case and what the issues are. But, you know, I would leave with several questions. You know, one, like, clearly he didn't steal anything. He didn't take anything. They clearly thought he did. But 2, so what was his purpose for being there? Why did he go there? But, you know, in social media, I've seen some of the comments talk about it, and people's, you know, wasting time. I'll go into a store and just peruse around and window shop. And I've done that too. So maybe he was just walking around the neighborhood. And I mean,
Sometimes if it's hot, people will go in to cool off. And again, if I wanted water and I pick up 4 waters and I turn and I see Alice Chow just literally, blatantly just standing there watching me, I'll put the waters back and walk out the store also. Salute to my sister, Shawanda Williams. Thanks for joining. I wouldn't give them my money either. I'll walk out their store either.
it's May, it's hot. You know, he had a hoodie on, maybe just going in to get some air and wandering around. But it is very odd. It is odd that he took 4 water bottles out and then just put them right back.
Well, if you are interested in keeping up with this trial.
Now here's Andy Chow. As tough as he was acting in that store, he gets in front of the prosecutor and act like he's oblivious to what's going on. They prep these people when they come here to the United States. It's a certain criteria of people who they allow in here. And they prep these people. And they come here to align themselves who they perceive as winning. And they're taught to get down with this system of white supremacy. That's what it is. They're white supremacists also.
Is there a reason you can't answer my question with a yes or no? I mean,
because I was told I can't testify for someone else or say.
You can say everything you saw and you know to be true.
Okay, yes, sir.
Okay, and the judge will correct me if I'm wrong, but that's how I've always understood a witness testifying. Do you have any reason to believe that your dad was up there against his will?
No, sir.
Okay. He voluntarily ran up Springtree Drive to where Cyrus Carmack Belton was shot, correct?
Yes, sir.
Correct?
Yes, sir.
And nobody.
He's acting like he's oblivious, like he's a naive child, when this is a grown-ass man who was out the door first to chase Cyrus Carmack Belton. He was out the door first. The father left out after him. He was out the door first.
They stopped him from calling 911, to your knowledge.
No, sir.
Nobody stopped him from printing up these pictures of Mr. Belton, correct?
To my knowledge, no, sir.
Nobody made him leave the Shell gas station that day, right?
No, to my knowledge, no, sir.
He did it on his own, with his own free will, correct?
Yes, sir.
This was a total miscarriage of justice for the state of South Carolina to determine that it was okay for 2 grown-ass men to chase down a 14-year-old, and he ended up losing his life over some damn water.
The shooting doesn't happen if everybody stays in the Shell gas station that day, correct?
Everyone? Yes, sir.
it doesn't happen, correct?
Yes, sir.
I'm correct in saying that is what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
Shooting doesn't happen if everybody stays put in the Shell gas station, correct?
Yes, sir.
Even if he stole water, they have such a sophisticated surveillance camera system. We've seen how clear the cameras was in that store. This young man would have been identified, and all they had to do was give the pictures of Cyrus Belton to the police, and he would have, more than likely been apprehended. But this dude sitting up here, as my brother Maybach said, he's acting slow. But he was, if you see him on that camera, he's not this little naive cat. He's not.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Anything else briefly? It doesn't happen if Cyrus doesn't put a gun on you either, correct?
Correct.
Thank you. No further questions.
You don't even know there's a gun if you stay in the gas station. Right?
Your Honor.
You don't know he's got a gun if you stay put in the Shell gas station, correct?
Yes, sir.
I'm correct.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
That's the truth. Nobody knows he have a gun.
Cyrus's
Nobody
parents
knows he
say-
has a gun if they just stay put in the gas station. Period.
This was a miscarriage of justice.
It was absolutely a miscarriage of justice. And not only the family saying that, but a lot of people throughout the world saying that. And here's why.
Mike, check. Justin Hunt. It's all happening. Thank you to everybody rocking with the channel. Thank you to everybody subscribe through the channel, who shared the video, shared the link. It's priceless. Big thank you to everyone who's donated. If you'd like to donate, get the Cash App right up there or the link in description. And big thank you to all my newest members.
The company man, I like his content. And we're gonna get into this. I'm not gonna play this entirely because it's kind of lengthy, but I like what this brother does and his stance on a lot of things. Fair use.
My newest members, Oliver Ancestors, Trini Boy, Lee Entertainment, Sally B1 Kenobi, Sale B1 Kenobi. I love that. The Done Deal, Shores 444, Meow Mix It, Lord Racer with the re-up, 9-second applause. Thank you so much for all the support. Thank you for tuning in and tapping in and locking into all the conversations we're having around here. Fantastic episode of Culture United this week. Dwan B, Chuck Dizzle, LBK, myself, Charles Brown. Fantastic conversation again. Video is up now if you want to take a look at it. It is time-stamped. Big shout out to StatQuo, DJ More Millie. We just had another morning show with the Third Verse Morning Show we shot this morning. It's all happening over here, as the saying goes. 1 second applause. And it's all happening everywhere. This is actually a very sober story, a very somber story, and another tragic story, sadly. And there was a big case in South Carolina. A man named Rick Chow. He was charged with murder for shooting and killing a 14-year-old boy who he accused of stealing from his store. And this took place again in Columbia, South Carolina, Richland County, if I'm not mistaken. And, this is a story that does hit close to home, being that I am from the Carolinas. I went to high school and college in Greenville and Spartanburg, South Carolina. And so when stories break like this, especially when they're coming from home, they just hit a little bit differently. And so here is the case.
What's crazy about this is, like Asians, they got a law that make them a protected class of people. And It was a case a few years ago where some children was playing. 6-year-old children were playing on the front lawn. They was riding their bike past this man's house. This Asian man came to the door and shot at the children and shot one of the children, a 6-year-old, shot him because they were playing in front of the house. This is what we come to. And this man got out and went right next door he was allowed to go right back next door to the family of the child he just shot. He was allowed to do that. To me, he was allowed to do that. I'm going to keep stressing that. He was allowed to do that when he shouldn't have been allowed to do that.
A lot of details here that have people highly polarized. But as you can see here, here's the first clip. This is from Megan Cuniff, Megan the reporter. She says a jury in South Carolina tonight acquitted a former gas station owner of murder for fatally shooting a teenage boy he chased after falsely accusing him of shoplifting. The boy had a gun, but prosecutors say he never displayed it before he was shot. And here's the scene from the courtroom.
We, the jury, unanimously find the defendant, Chi Rick Chow, as to the charge of murder, not guilty. Sign number 302, foreperson, June the 1st, 2026. Madam Forlady, this is your verdict and the verdict of the entire jury. Yes, ma'am, was. Thank you. Madam Forlady and ladies and gentlemen, the jury, I'm going to ask you two.
Now, this is terrible. Now, we're getting to the details of it. There is a lot on both sides of this, or at least both sides of this case and the arguments that the defense and the prosecution were making here. But that is the scene in the courtroom when Rick Chow was found not guilty. Here is video of surveillance video of the situation, and we can see how it looks at the time of the incident. All right, so Cyrus is walking in. Here's a shot of the store from behind the counter. There's a woman who just told Cyrus to put the book bag by the door, so Cyrus is walking around the store without a book bag. He's over by the coolers where the water bottles are kept. The woman behind the store walks over to him. Looks like she's trying to make sure he's not shoplifting anything.
She was acting like she was fixing potato chips and everything. She was just following him. And then she started blatantly doing it eventually. She started blatantly following him. See that? You see that? Look, acting like she's fixing chips.
Cyrus is still back by the coolers. Now he's walking towards the front of the store again. And now he's going back to the water bottle cooler. Looks like he's putting back the bottles of water. The woman's standing right next to him looking at him.
Exactly. She was looking right at him when he put those bottles back.
And he walks to leave the store. The woman is questioning.
She knew he didn't have anything because she was standing right behind him when he was putting them back.
Him, if he's stealing, he said he's not. He doesn't have anything. And now the shot's outside of him walking around the corner. The Rick Chow and his son chase after him, chasing across parking lots. And that is the security footage that they showed in court. Now, this is
we're going to move on. Now, you don't have to have a violent confrontation for them to pull out weapons. And they're talking about people pushing people. These people pull guns out during verbal confrontations. Verbal confrontations.
And a wife faced felony assault charges after she was caught on video pointing a gun at a black woman during an argument.
Get away. She got the gun on me. He had to hit me with the car. Call him. I'm telling.
Tekelia Hill says the confrontation broke out after Jillian Wustenberg bumped into her teenage daughter in a parking lot near Detroit. During the dispute, the 32-year-old jumped into her car and pulled out a handgun. Wustenberg later told police she feared for her life over what she says were threatening comments to her and her husband. Deputies arrested the couple shortly after the incident and seized 2 handguns, which the Wustenbergs had licenses to carry.
That's what they do.
I've done absolutely nothing. No.
Seriously.
Put your gun down, really?
But they're gonna tell us. They're gonna tell us that when we are approached and we are aggressively grabbed or shoved or violently accosted, that we have to respond to them a certain way. But an argument results in them pulling out weapons during a verbal confrontation. Now, this cop just wanted to intimidate this person. A man in California said he was hooking up his boat in front of his house when he began recording the police officer driving through his neighborhood. What that cop do, instead of respecting the man's rights to record him, pulled out his gun and tried to intimidate him.
I've done absolutely nothing. No.
Seriously.
Put your gun down, really? Clearly didn't like that I was pointing my camera to videotape him. He thinks he's being funny now.
Hi. Go take your hand out of your pocket.
No, sir, I've done nothing. I've done absolutely nothing. No.
Seriously.
That's the thing, that this is what you call intimidation and trying to control someone's movement. Take your hand out your pocket. You have no reason approaching him in the first place. The man can have his hand in his pocket all he want because this is an unlawful encounter. Unlawful. All he did was point his camera at that police officer, and that cop actually pulled his camera out and did the same thing, which he have a right to do also. But the only thing that's different between his camera and his footage and the if he's an auditor or someone, a citizen's camera footage, is he was doing it in the line of duty. But anything he do in the line of duty is actually could be getting rid of Freedom of Information Act request. A FOIA request can get anything that he has because he's doing it in the active duty. But a lot of these cops, they just don't give a damn about the law. As law enforcement.
Put your gun down, really?
Start me another one.
This one's really got a gun on me. No. You don't touch me. You don't touch me.
I'm at that address. Start me another one.
You don't touch me.
Hey, man.
No, you don't touch me.
When I tell you to take your hand out.
I've done nothing.
Straight up intimidation. That's what he's doing. Straight up intimidating him. And if I'm not mistaken, he lost his job for this. He got fired for this.
Okay. Nope.
You need to relax.
What have I done? Why'd you get out of your vehicle?
You're taking a picture of me. I'm taking a picture of you.
Take a picture and leave.
Okay. I don't have to leave.
Neither do I.
So I told you to take your hand out of your pocket. I just want to make sure you don't have a weapon.
You know.
He just want him to do something that he tells him to do. And he don't have to do that. He just wants to control this man's movement. He wants him to do anything. That's the thing with a lot of cops. They want some type of obedience and compliance. He have no reason to approach this man when he's not doing anything illegal. No reason whatsoever. It's what I was talking about earlier. Cop can have no legal ground to approach you, and they will approach you in a violent manner, intimidating you. And if you say, don't touch me, they will touch you anyway, knowing that they have no legal ground to do so. But if you go upside their damn head, you'll be the one wrong when they start the whole situation.
You know I don't have a weapon on me.
Okay. I don't know that.
You do that. I'm completely clear. Wrong. You have your gun out because you're a police officer. You're trying to intimidate me, and this is going all over YouTube.
What's wrong with you?
Your station is corrupt.
Okay. Are you some kind of a constitutionalist?
No, sir.
Crazy guy or something like that? Is that your?
Is that what you're going after? Is that where you're going? Are you throwing claims around?
Go to the next video.
Please call the cops.
I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
This was a local story, but quickly made national headlines today.
Now, this is a story that is sort of, viral and famous. Amy Cooper called the police on a brother in Central Park because she wouldn't get control of her dog. And there's rules in the park of when you're walking your dog. They have to be leashed. And he's a photographer. He's in the park, in Central Park in New York, taking pictures. And because he told her to adhere to the rules and regulations of the park, this is what she did.
Please call the cops.
I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
This was a local story, but quickly made national.
Now watch how she get into the dramatics and turn on the waterworks instantaneously to attempt to get her desired results. She says she's going to tell them that an African-American man threatened her, knowing that's not the truth. And what's crazy about it, she's doing it and saying all this with a camera pointed right in her damn face.
National headlines. Today, we learned that charges have been filed against the woman in this video, Amy Cooper. She was caught on the cell phone video calling police on a black man after he asked her to leash her dog in Central Park. News 4's Randa Novini has the latest.
Please call the cops.
I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
The video created a firestorm on social media. Now, 2 months after this Central Park confrontation went viral, there are charges.
He's recording me and threatening me and my dog.
The woman in the video, Amy Cooper, is seen calling the NYPD to say an African-American man is threatening her. The man behind the camera, Christian Cooper, is an avid bird watcher who had asked Amy to put her dog on a leash in an area where it's required. He doesn't appear to move any closer to her, even as her tone gets more frantic.
I'm being threatened by a man in the ramble. Please send the cops immediately.
Listen to her, acting like she's being attacked. And this could have resulted in this man being beaten or worse, arrested, because of how she's sounding and behaving on the phone. Like it's a dire emergency, like the man is up in her face and on her.
Now, Amy Cooper is charged with filing a false report in the 3rd degree. Many saying her actions could have caused Christian to be arrested for no reason, or worse.
That guy could have been in jail if there were no witnesses or maybe a video or stuff like that.
In the days after the video was shared, Amy Cooper lost her job and temporarily lost custody of her dog. She apologized for her actions, but many felt it
Look how she's abusing the dog, choking the dog out. Look how she's abusing the dog.
wasn't enough. The Manhattan District Attorney's Office saying today they're committed to holding perpetrators of this conduct accountable. In Central Park, New Yorkers happy to hear about charges and also hope Amy learns from it.
By forgiving, it's not so much saying that it's okay for her to have done that, but it's okay for her to move on and learn from the experience.
On the Upper West Side, Randa Novini, News 4, New York.
So these people crazy. We're living among
the long legal road for 4 former guards at Mid-State Correctional Facility coming to an end today. News Channel 9's Lindsay Peters explains why today was about more than just individual sentencings.
The sentencings mark the latest step in a case that has drawn statewide attention and raised serious questions about accountability inside New York's prison system. One by one, the defendants learned their fate. Former correction officer Craig Klemick received 9 months in the Oneida County Jail. Joshua Bartlett was sentenced to 1 year behind bars. Nathan Palmer avoided jail time, receiving a 1-year conditional discharge. But the most closely watched sentencing of the day belonged to former officer Kayla Blair. Last month, Blair pleaded guilty to first-degree manslaughter in Nantwee's death.
He's probably mad because his name is Kayla. I would be upset about that. My mother and father named me Kayla. And I'm a guy.
Avoiding a trial. His attorney told the court Blair had shown remorse. While the judge agreed, he said those remorseful feelings came far too late.
I would agree with Mr. Sullivan that you were probably the only person involved in this case so far that has seemed to show any remorse. Those types of feelings had come through.
Yeah, because that first one was walking through the court like he wasn't in trouble with a smile on his face, and the judge should have wiped that smile off his face with a harsher sentence.
On March 1st, and maybe you wouldn't be here, and maybe the rest of these individuals wouldn't be here, and maybe Mr. Naki would be alive today.
Before the sentence was handed down, the judge gave Blair one final opportunity to speak.
Mr. Blair, is there anything you'd like to say before I sentence you?
What's crazy is their actions resulted in the death of someone at the mid-state prison, Messiah Nantwee.
The judge then imposed the toughest sentence handed down in the case so far.
It'll be the sentence of this court for the defendant's conviction for manslaughter in the first degree. It'll be sentenced to an 11-year determinate sentence in state prison, followed by 5 years of post-release supervision.
Thomas Eck is the last defendant to be sentenced in this case. He pled guilty to offering a false instrument for filing. His sentence is scheduled for July 7th. At the Oneida County Courthouse, Lindsay Peters, News Channel 9.
And Eck would be the last of the defendants to be sentenced in connection with the death of Messiah Nantwee.
Download the WSYR Plus app on your TV to stream.
All of that is just what it is. Nasty work.
State of South Carolina, County of Richland versus Chike Rick Chow. We, the jury, unanimously find the defendant, Chike Rick Chow, as to the charge of murder, not guilty.
They flip the script and call it law, but I can read the lines. Truth gets dragged through broken glass while they rewrite the signs. Before the cameras, it was words, and words got lost in smoke. Our names went up against the badge, and too many people choke. Now every phone can catch the frame, now every feet can see the same old line, and new coastal dressed up as mercy. They want us quiet, want us small, want us scared to say the facts, but pain don't vanish when you post it, and the feet don't heal the cracks. This is nasty work, and I know it when I see it. Truth in the light, but they still try to be screening. We've been hurt. Now we turn that fear to fire. When tears hit the ground, they rise up higher and higher. This is nasty work, but we standing through the night. Our babies ain't a price tag, our grief is our right. We won't bow, we won't break, we won't let them rewrite. Tears turn to a fight, tears turn to a fight. Young black child in the backlight, heart full of morning air. Then a grown man turns the street into a place that ain't fair. Son or daughter, someone's world, someone's reason to believe. And they treat that sacred little life like it's nothing, honestly. We carry names like burning coal, we carry dates like stone. Trayvon in the echo chamber and more gone from the home. Cyrus in the headlines, now another mother left to cry. Another father tasting silence where his boy should have been high. They say it's just a moment, but that moment changes years. And every new attack on us is baptized in our tears. It may EDA, why can't you hear the warning call? I ain't gonna lie, I'm so mad it makes me wanna ball. But anger ain't the enemy, it's fuel for what I do. My tears will learn to march in time, my grief will make it through. This is nasty work, and I know it when I see it. Truth in the light, but they still try to de-screen it. We've been hurt. Now we turn that fear to fire. When tears hit the ground, they rise up higher and higher. This is nasty work, but we standing through the night. Our babies ain't a price tag, our grief is our right. We won't bow, we won't break, we won't let them rewrite. Tears turn to a fight, tears turn to a fight. Peace for the lost and power for the living. Peace to the hurt and the courage for the giving. If they set the stage, then we change the play. Truth got a voice and it ain't going away.
Our unity in sisterhood, brotherhood, and struggle is profound, principled, Disabled and forever.
I want to thank everyone for coming out and joining me this evening. I appreciate it. And I'm going to be doing a stream in the near future about Clive Davis and his victims. I'm going to do a stream in the near future about that, because we need to talk about that and let the people know that they're trying to paint a picture of Clive Davis as this innovative person who cared about his artists, but we're not going to allow that. The brother Dwan B did a very good job on exposing the real Clive Davis, not the one they're trying to put up in our face. We're not going for it, because this man did a lot of exploitation when it comes to our artists, people who became record executives under him, but in particular, our artists like, Whitney Houston, Gregory Hines, Luther Vandross. We had Andre Harrell, Heavy D. Of course, we know that Clive Davis gave Andre Harrell the money to start Uptown, and he also gave Diddy the money to start Bad Boy. We're going to get into that in a later date. But for now, I want to thank my brother Maybach, D. Allen Warren, the sister Shawanda Williams, the brother Casino C79, Big Dog Philly OG. I want to thank everybody who came through. Those who didn't leave a comment, I thank you for watching. Anyway, thank you for watching. I thank my wife for watching. She's always watching. On the way, darling. Let me end this. And now, before I go, I want to tell everyone to get your copy of Fire Book 2, the finale, and get your copy of Fire, the original Fire, at Amazon. Get your copy of Fire Book 2. From Amazon on paperback or Kindle. Go to books at Amazon. Angela King James. Get your copy
Get
of
your
Fire.
copy of Fire.
Book 2.
It's definitely a must read. If you enjoy hood books, this one is it. Just like the title of the book, it's officially Fire. Get it on Amazon, paperback or Kindle.
I don't know how I got here. I just know I'm never going back. Just when I thought things were already crazy, it gets worse.
I'm back.
Quan?
Sapphire struggles to deal with her husband's alleged betrayal and coming to terms with Quan being alive after thinking he was deceased. Devante tries to keep a level head while dealing with family issues and unexpected disloyalty. Memories of Dre enters Devante's life in a way that he would have never imagined.
Fire
Fire Part 2. The finale.
Thank you all for joining me this evening. I really appreciate it. Until next time, this is Brother Nasir, the enemy's public. I leave you as I came before you in the greeting words of peace. Until next time, this is the enemy's public. I am Brother Nasir. Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment in the comment section. Peace.
Production. Giving out instruction. Hey. I just keep it intact. This is a fact, right and exact. I won't step back. Admiration is the feeling that inspires your brain to make you gain self-knowledge, not go insane.